Hey, this is Danielle over at DIYDanielle.com, and today I'm going to make some DIY erase pouches for chore cards. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and let's get started. Okay, so I'm making myself some card holders. I made these little chore chart cards for everyone, so it has a little checklist, but I want them to be reusable. I am using a piece of clear vinyl, and I've cut this to slightly longer than my piece of clear vinyl. So this top piece is going to be folded over, and I'll show you the whole process in a second. But this here, we can use some bias tape for finishing the edges. We are also going to need our sewing machine or hand sewing if you so choose, and also some thread that matches your bias tape. So let's get started. And this should be mostly everything you need. Oh, you're gonna need grommets and a thingamajigger. I am gonna add a little piece of fabric, and you can use a stabilizer if you want as well, but I just want something to thicken this area, so I'll use a piece of scrap for that. And there's my little piece of scrap. Ignore that for now. We're not gonna use it yet. Okay, so step one is just to sew this edging on your short side. So I'm just going to use a straight stitch. There is a correct way to put this on, and this isn't it, but it's fine. Just make sure you sew it on pretty well, particularly at the end and the beginning. Your next step is to put your fabric right sides together with it, and we're just going to sew up this edge here to create our seam. Okay, so once you've done that, you can go ahead and normally I would say to press this, but I'm not sure if it'll melt this, so I'm just not going to because I'd rather be safe than sorry. And what I'm going to do is just sew a straight stitch up here to reinforce this seam here. Okay, and then I just folded the fabric behind like it'll be once it's finished and did another stitch because why not? So this fabric here, we don't want to sew so that this is closed, obviously. So we want to sew a nice seam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over and I'm going to sandwich this piece in there. And then I'm going to just sew a straight seam here underneath this piece. Now, if you so desire, this can overlap like this. You just don't sew that down yet. Flip this back. So your very last step is to add your bias tape along either of these sides. So we're just gonna sandwich it there and try to make it look pretty. I want to pin this in place, but I don't want to go through the vinyl because if you go through the vinyl, you're probably gonna create a hole. I don't think it'll mend itself. So try to just get the very end where your bias tape is, and just to get it in place. And then you just cut your bias tape to a little bit longer than it needs to be. And we are going to sew our bias tape on. Let's see, once we trim this. Oh boy. I really hate loose strands. It's like probably one of my silly things that I hate doing with sewing because it really isn't that bad, but alrighty. You can see I messed up here. I'll probably just cut those away because it doesn't matter. Don't do that. Because again, you're putting holes in your thing, so don't be like me. But that side's finished, and I can just do the other side the same way. And you probably don't need to see me do twice, particularly at the angle I'm at, 'cause it sucks. But, yep. I'll be back. If you've got a grommet maker, hopefully you have the right pieces. I'm not sure I do, but this pretty much makes a hole for your grommet. You're gonna center it, squeeze, and then you'll be able to pull out your fabric that's in the middle there and put your thing through. So the male end of your thing just pokes through the hole. there. And you're going to put the female end on the other side. These. And just make sure it's all the way through. I got to fix this one. Hold it on there. And then you just use your pliers to connect that. Hopefully this was the right side. It just squeezes the side closed, and there you go. So you can hang your thing from that if you would like. Ta-da! Alrighty, so this is the back of it, and here's the front, and this is what it looks like when it's finally finished. It's working great for dry erase markers, and it can be erased really easily. If you need any more information, just check out my blog post on DIYDanielle.com. Thanks so much. Take care.